So in yesterday's video, I was showing you, or I guess I changed the variable valve timing solenoids on the truck. I'm sure you've seen that. So, well, let's see. We took it for a test drive, and we took it for a long test drive. Well, we actually took it for 2 test drives. We took it for a short one just to make sure everything was okay. And then we came back. I don't think we did anything. I let the truck cool down is what I was doing. And then we took it for a longer one, probably a good, I don't know, 30-mile run. And I took the hilliest roads that I could find to see if it would trip the check engine light again. Because that's what happened to us. We had a lawnmower in the back, and I guess the weight of it going up one of those hills, we took the same road, just put too much, I don't know, it needed more power than what the engine could provide with the bad solenoids. At least that's what I'm thinking. So we took it on that test drive, and man, I am telling you, this is the peppiest truck. It must have been degrading over time for a long period of time, because I don't even recognize this truck being that peppy. I don't remember it being that peppy. I mean, it was like a race car. My guess is, when we started traveling as nomads, we had 40,000 miles on this truck. Because we had to drive back and forth to work every day. And it was only a couple of years old, I think 3 years old, when we decided to start traveling. Then, as we traveled for a year and a half, I guess, and then the pop-up camper caught on fire. Then we put that big truck camper on the back of this. So I think when we finally finished up our traveling, the truck had 60,000 miles on it. Well, now it's got 90,000. So there's been about 30,000 miles that it didn't have a lot of weight on the back. I'm thinking that when we took the truck camper off, I remember how powerful this thing felt. But it also had a lot of weight on the back, and in the big sail, the thing, it was just sticking up in the air. So it was really peppy. But now I'm beginning to think maybe it wasn't as peppy as it could have been. Maybe back then the solenoid was starting to degrade, and so we didn't really notice the loss of power in this. I recently looked up how much power this thing has. It's a little 4-cylinder. Today's 4-cylinders has as much, this 4-cylinder has as much power, almost as much power as, say, a Trans Am, the Burt Reynolds Trans Am, which I found kind of incredible. But now I understand, especially now they got this variable valve timing solenoid replaced, what's going on. I mean, that thing increases the power dramatically or reduces the power dramatically. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm an expert. I could explain it to you, but I don't think I could explain it to you very well that you would understand it. But there are videos out there that shows on the camshaft that things are moving. You got 2 different lobes, one for the low RPMs, one for the high RPMs. It's kind of incredible. It's amazing technology in my mind. So now I understand how we have 4-cylinder engines with as much power as a Trans Am back in the 70s. But when I read that, I thought, there's no way. I mean, I actually rode in a Trans Am. It was blue, it wasn't black, when I was a kid. And I remember just being glued to that seat. Well, I hit the gas yesterday, and you could feel it. It pumped us back into the seat. So it must have lost a lot of power over the years. And changing that has those solenoids it has made a huge difference. Even Carolyn felt the difference. She doesn't pay attention to things like that hardly at all. I asked her, she says, well, I'd like to say, yeah, I feel a difference, but maybe I'm just imagining that we're supposed to have more power. But it's dramatic. So the other thing could have been, well, there's actually 4 things it could have been, but the other thing could have been was a oil pressure sensor switch. And it's underneath, I got to take the tire off and the fender shroud inside, that, whatever you call that. You got to take all that off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it run like this, and if the check engine light comes on again, then I'll replace that sensor, because that's going to be a pretty good project, I would imagine. but I don't even get the sensor until tomorrow. And then I was looking at it, and apparently you have to buy a special socket also for it. So I went ahead and bought the socket. Wouldn't have hurt to have an extra tool around here anyways. And that socket was only $7. The sensor's 13. The solenoids, they were only 28. So it's not like I got a fortune into this. So I guess I'm just kind of happy that it worked out so well. The worst thing it could be is a oil pump. I guess I could do an oil pump myself. I got up underneath there today, and I'm sure I could do it. It probably wouldn't be that hard. Drop the oil pan. I'm sure the oil pump comes right out. But I'm just really hoping that's not what it is, because that to me is a significant repair to a vehicle that we rely on. So I would have to take it to a mechanic at that point. But that's okay. We can do that if we have to. So I'm at this stage now where nobody's picking up their stuff. We live in a kind of a vacation area, a tourist area. Not this town specifically, but towns around us are. So there's a lot of people who own second homes around here, around the lake. So, they come down in the winter. They don't come down hardly at all, but in the summer they'll come down regularly just to cut the grass. So, well, I mean, that's not even the biggest issue here. The only piece of equipment, no, I guess it is the biggest piece thing I got going on here. So this weed eater and this blower belongs to a guy who lives not in this area. So he's up there. He's not going to be back for another week and a half, I guess. So these are done and running. Carolyn just had a little bit of fun. She always likes it when we get a blower and get to repair. So she's cleaned out our barbecue area so we can keep the wildfires down. And got the, it's a good test is all it is. And then yesterday I blew out the ditch so we wouldn't have flooding this year, because those leaves really back up the culvert. So, but it ran a good test. But those start pretty good. And then the other ones here, we got a push mower and an edger. Now this has already been here, I don't know, maybe a week and a half already. And I have no idea when he's coming down to pick these up. Now, I understand that I need to charge storage fees. But here's the problem I have. Since I do live in a vacation area with summer homes and all that, and I recognize that there are folks who are going to not be able to travel down just to pick up their stuff, that I should be lenient on the storage a little bit. If you think about it, these guys are traveling all the way down here to drop off their equipment. This guy, the first thing he brought me was his lawnmower. The lawnmower was for this property in this area. But these items he brought down from his main home. So if he's bringing equipment from his main home, instead of taking it to a guy in Kansas City, he's bringing it to me. I need to make exceptions, because he's bringing it to me because I'm cheap and I try to do quality work. So I'm trying to make exceptions for those guys. Now, I don't like to take checks. So I've never had a problem with asking for cash. People have seemed very understanding about it. And when they say, well, I got a check, and I'll say, well, yeah, my bank don't like taking people's checks from around here, they understand that, checks are going to bounce. And I don't have the resources to go after people. I mean, I can't, put liens against anything. I can't. So if the check bounces, I lose that money. And I think people understand that in general. The first lawnmower I worked on here, he said, can I give you a check? And I said, well, I would prefer cash. I mean, my bank doesn't like taking checks from people around here. And he laughed. He understood. He says, well, can you give me a couple days, because my bank is, and he told me what town it was in, which is a significant drive. I said, oh, sure, yeah, that's fine. But I mean, he didn't complain about it. He didn't say like, oh, I ain't gonna do that, you're just gonna have to take a check or something like that. But this guy, I said, yeah, we'll have to take cash. And the thing is, it's not like I hid the fact. I mean, I told him when I was leaving that, I'll let you know what it costs, and we'll take cash. I don't know if he caught on to what I was saying or what, but so I got this finished the very next day. I called him. No, I messaged him. He called me back. I messaged him. Yeah, when he called back, he says, yeah, I'll give you a check. I said, it's X amount of dollars, cash only, please. He said, no, I'll give you a check. I said, I can't accept a check. I need the cash. Well, why do you need cash? Well, my bank doesn't like taking checks from people around here. Why not? And he was acting like, he was playing stupid. I said, well, a lot of people bounce their checks. Not mine. Well, anybody can say not mine. I've never bounced a check. Ah, come on. Never? I would like to say I've never bounced a check. I would like to say that, but I don't know if that's true. I may have 1 or 2 times by accident. As a matter of fact, I feel like when I was in my teens, just joining the Navy, I might have bounced one. But the thing is, I don't write a lot of checks. I've always tried to use ATM except for paying bills. I'd write checks for bills. I don't know, I may have bounced a few checks, but regardless, I'm sure it's happened. It did. Mistakes happen. I've never bounced a check. You're just going to have to take a check. I said, well, I'll tell you what, when's the next time you go to town? I'm not going to town next week. Okay, next time you go to town next week, give me a holler. And, get your cash, give me a holler. I'll bring it over then. Well, whatever you want. So, I mean, he wasn't happy about it. But I'm just not going to chase people around with bounced checks. It's just easier to hang on to the equipment. And, of course, we're concerned that we're going to lose business and all that. But, look, if I'm out here mowing grass, and I know people do, they mow grass, they're not taking checks. They want cash. Because you just don't have the resources. I mean, if you own a business, a storefront, I guess you have to do it at that point. But going to people's houses, picking up their equipment, it's just easier to deal in cash. So I have I've got a lot of money sitting here, not in value of the equipment, but value of what people owe me. There's quite a bit of money sitting here. So I'll be happy to get that cashed in soon. But everything seems to be going well. Everything, you stress about the car. Oh no, the car's doing terrible. Am I going to be able to fix it? Then you get it fixed and it's like, hey, it runs pretty good. I'm just really excited about it. And then of course all this stuff is running. This one was fun, just to clean the carburetor. I had an obstruction in it. And well, I mean, you'll get to see all this on my other channel. By the way, the other channel is doing really good. I wanted to mention that real quick. I'm actually really excited about it. I'm not gonna give you any updates just yet, but I think everything's working out just fine. I've got 10 extra videos on that so far, just waiting in queue. So I release 2 videos a week, one on Monday, one on Thursday. And I think, like I said, I got 10 or 12 videos ready to go. So throughout the year, as we're working on equipment, and then I'll make a video and just set it in there and let it stew until it gets released, however many weeks that is. Some guy gave me a bunch of weed eaters, and so we'll go ahead and fix those up over the winter. That'll give me some content to make, just in case I start to run low. But then Carolyn and I was talking about this lawnmower here. What do we want to do with it? Because we're not selling lawnmowers anymore. We're just not going to do it. It's just too risky. So, I've already got some money invested in this, and I really need to put a little bit more money into it so we can sell it. I'd like to get another carburetor on it and just work on it, whatever it needs. But I'm never going to get the money out of it that I need. It's just too old and too clunky. And so what are we going to do? Well, Carolyn said, well, make content. And then just sell it for the parts, whatever the parts are, sell it for that cost. So let's say we're in $150 on it. We'll make content. That'll be some money off the content. Keep the channel going. and then we'll sell it for the $150. Or so if we have to, we'll take a loss at it. But we'll have to express, you know, this is so cheap, there's just nothing guaranteed about it. It's just a, you know, fixer-upper. You'll have to fix it up yourself type of thing. So hopefully nobody will come back on me when I say, you know, this is a fixer-upper, you know, good for parts or something like that. Maybe even I posted that in the comment section, you know, good for parts, engine runs, good for parts. And then somebody might just use it just to use it until it dies. I have taken some parts off that already though. Taken a light bulb and a wheel off the mower deck. So I'll have to put some of that stuff back on. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video on my other channel. Really appreciate it. Go there and check it out. Subscribe. Watch those videos. So hope I can inspire you to get everything working so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.